Hello, welcome to November 23rd, 2022. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is something that I do every morning shortly after waking up, although a little later this morning. It's 4:37 a.m. I'm running a little bit late. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles, and to see how I did yesterday using these against in response to, or in anticipation of, the obstacles and opportunities that I did encounter, and including last night, and to plan for today. And good morning, Parker. First, last night and yesterday. Slept really good last night. Can't call it a peaceful night's sleep. Don't know just why. I was out solid from the moment I put my head on the pillow until the alarm went off. Didn't wake up before the alarm. From a relative sense, that's huge progress compared to where I was 2 years ago, with the panic attacks and, the inability to sleep. Nights were pretty awful back then. Things are a lot better now. It's normal for me now to sleep until the alarm, and I typically don't wake up in the middle of the night, but I'm not feeling, some days I wake up feeling really good. Then there's like today that wake up feeling like the rest wasn't complete for some reason in some way. Like I said, there's something going on with my body too. And I did make an appointment. I got a new doctor here locally in Huntington Beach. He's just up the road at the clinic. Literally, I could walk to the clinic now. Everything's within walking distance. All the shopping that we do, or at least a good stroll distance. No more than 3 blocks away for everything. Although the Kaiser Clinic is about 5 blocks away. I could still walk to it. My doctor would encourage me to do that. So I do have that appointment. But the blood work thing turned out to be all right. I went and got the blood test, came back fine. It was my white blood cell count was down, and that alarmed me, because that means that my body's immune system was not up to speed. It means like the sentry at the bank stepped out for a smoke. the air raid sirens weren't working. Whatever the case may be, whatever you want to use your analogy, that did alarm me when I saw that. But fortunately, I guess it kind of came out fortunately. I didn't see the email from my doctor from my September checkup. I had gone in for something. It wasn't a routine checkup. I had actually gone in for something. You're gonna fall, Ollie. He's gonna fall between the cracks here. Okay, you. There you go. Now you can sit better. And I hadn't seen the email that the doctor had sent me telling me that my white blood count was down and asking me to come in for more checkups. And if I had, then I would have done it, of course. But then it would have been still low at that time. And maybe it's good that of course I'll bring it up with my doctor when I see him next month. But my new doctor. But the way this worked out was I saw the message. Oh wow, white blood count's low. I went in that evening, got the blood work. I don't know how they did it, because by midday the next morning I had the results. Kaiser's really good. They'll put your blood work up, their panels up, and I think that's the word. And then you can see all your panels in the pack. And I was able to see my blood, I checked everything. My white blood count, good. Whoa, low. And then last night, with this check this week, back up to normal, a little above, even more in the strong range. So there was a blip on the radar. I wonder what it. Excuse me. So I don't know what that was, and so we'll get. I can't say we'll get to the bottom of it all. I'll bring it up with my doctor, and he will help me the best he can. So there was that. So I feel a little bit better about that, but still I'm not feeling. I'm still out of sorts. Something's still wrong with something. I know it. It's not just a feeling. empirical evidence, but I don't want to talk about it because it's a little too personal. As for work yesterday, yeah, yesterday was interesting. If there's ever a week that you could slack, it's this week and going into the holidays, right? Yeah, we're short on staff. I mean, not short on staff. There's people have taken time off. The mood is, the feeling is that things are winding down, and fewer meetings, and I work from home. I'm not someone who does slack off. I sit right there at my work, and I have my reading chair here. I could easily sit here and read, and I don't. There's a little internal cop inside me that won't let me goof off. So I work. And I'm in a good state. I mean, the one thing that would contribute to it even more is the fact that my projects are in a good state right now. I got a lot of work done. Like I said, I had that meeting on Monday where Juan and I got like 2 days worth of the work done in an hour. I mean, really in a good state. Still, I worked yesterday. And I did fill it with some filler work. For example, I'm doing videos for the organization, which reminds me I need to get back on track with that. I was going to do my project management videos. Anyway, and they gave me the Adobe Suite to use in creating the videos, and so I want to teach myself to do it. So I used some work time yesterday to learn how to use that tool better, which I think is quite valid. I mean, I'm using it. Using the tool that they gave me to do the thing that I'm doing. So that's good use of time. But if you wonder, can I just slack off? I can't. It's just not in me. One more reason, I got to get to retirement so I can relax, because I don't know how to relax when I'm on the clock. It's just not within me. Just a second, please. All right. Let's do the good life. There's nothing else, right? I think that's it, yeah. The good life meditation. My 7 objectives are as follows. First of all, I want to always be ready to die. I know death's coming for me, as it is for all of us. And how is it that when Marcus Aurelius describes in the Meditations, when you don't want to linger very far when the ship calls at the port, you don't want to linger very far or go stray very far from the docks. You never know when you'll hear the whistle blow and the ship to depart. You want to be ready to race back and get on board. He's referring to death, being ready to not be found far and away. I love that image. I also love the image of going to death without a backward glance. Imagine that. Dying without a longing, pleading, for our loved ones. It wouldn't mean that we don't love them. It would just mean that our goodbyes are not necessary. It's not that we've said our goodbyes, but our relationships are in a set and sound and settled way. I used the word set. That's not the right word. A sound and settled way. Like with my wife, there's nothing more that there's no unfinished business between us. I mean, last goodbyes would be nice, but even if I don't get them, if a stroke suddenly takes me out, there's no unsettled business. I think that's what Marcus Aurelius means. So being always ready to die means to have no unsettled business with regard to our affairs, our papers, our accounts, our everything related to our worldly connections. The stuff that, for example, my pension. Most important is my pension information in our bank account, so that Yumiko has access to those to carry on without me. And then 2 are my relationships. And they are. I mean, they're all settled. I picked out Yumiko just now as an example, but they're all in a settled way. Even my mom, as close as I can get that one to being settled. And then my life's work, and it is. Going alone is done. I just turn away and walk away. That book's done. I mean, maybe it'll just, its destiny is oblivion, but it was the best I could muster. That's why I'll spend the rest of my life marketing it, trying to do my best to help it find an audience where it might do some good, because I think it can do a lot of good. So yeah, that's number one. Be always ready to die. Number two is to make good and effective use of my time, to not let my days be wasted, to work hard and sound and towards good, virtuous ends, stoic ends. Ooh, I like that. Stoic ends. That could make a good book title. The book could be one page, just 2 words. Governing principle. No, governing faculty. That's our ends. This would be manage the governing faculty. 4 words. End of book. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That for me is these 7 objectives and 32 principles. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, just to react well to every day, whatever happens. As I was reading last night in Epictetus, to react well to the semblance of things. No, to not be put off by the semblance of things. To deal with things as they appear. Now I'm understanding that better. What they meant by as they appear. Because they may not, their appearance may not be our preconceived expectation of them. We deal with them as they appear. Like I'm having one problem at work right now that I'll deal with today. I won't deal with it as my expectation was, although I will keep that in mind. I will deal with it as it appears. It doesn't, what's happening with that problem is that a particular project activity is not unfolding the way that I wanted. And to deal with it as it appears would be to deal with it as it's actually happening and not being upset by the fact that it's not happening the way I expected. But to use the governing faculty, my reason, to manage it as it is. I think I'm getting that. That live reading last night really helped me to understand that chapter better, I think. 5 is to perform good actions, just to do good things. 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities. And 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully. Okay, those are my objectives. Those are the things that I'm striving for in life. The things that I live for. I probably didn't... Oh, because I'm confusing that with the principle. Never mind. Yeah, that's what that is. A little more coffee, please, Kurt. I could use a little more fuel for the governing faculty. Okay, now my 32 principles are, number 1, the principle of war. To always be someone who fights against the things that I already believe are true and whatever I might want to bring on board as true. Such things must suffer the gauntlet of the governing faculty, go through the examination of reason. 2, the principle of reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. These are the apparatus that I use to be a reasonable human being. I'm honest with myself and others. I try not to fool myself or others. I'm objective. I look at things as they are. Now I see how that comes full circle, doesn't it? Dealing with things as they are. That's the objectivity part. Doubt, I'm a fear skeptic. And then humiliation, ready to be humble and acquiesce when I'm in error. Preferring to be relieved of my error and have a chance to move forward in what is the actual truthful direction rather than persisting with my folly. Number 3 is 3 and 4 go together. There are 2 principles called the homunculus, that's number 3, homunculus, and the anchor hold is number 4. The homunculus is the little man that's inside our heads, or woman, the consciousness that we have. I don't think we have a soul. I don't think there's anything within us that's immortal other than the fact of our energy and the molecules and atoms of which we are composed that seem to get reused over and over, but nothing about our constituent, the whole about us that will survive. As such, what we're left with is our body and our consciousness, this thing that seems to be awake and alive within our brains, some sort of an emergent property of our nervous system and biochemistry. The anchor hold is the reminder that it's mortal, that it's trapped within my head. I don't have a soul. There's nothing about me that will live forever. Taken together, they form the man that I am. A little person, a little consciousness trapped in a biological meat puppet. Who's the puppeteer? The consciousness. I like that, a meat puppet. I think I'm going to use that over and over. Number 5, the 5th principle is the principle of purpose. And there are 3 sub-principles. My 3 purpi, so to speak, are, I use the words biology, virtue, and mission to describe my collective purpose. Biology isn't, in this case, a natural science. It's my biological mandate to mate and reproduce. It seems to be the only thing that really does seem anything like a purpose that we, animals and plants, seem to have, which is to reproduce, to make more of ourselves, to get our alleles within our DNA into another generation. And I've succeeded at that purpose. My daughter, I guess I have, right? I mean, she's a grown adult now, almost done with college. She's viable on her own. Yumiko and I could both die away today, and Emily would carry on and probably have her own family. So I guess that constitutes success in the biological mandate, the biological purpose. The second purpose is the purpose of virtue, to be a virtuous human being, where I define virtue as efforts to improve the well-being of thinking creatures in particular. Reduce suffering, increase peace and happiness, and peace and happiness. 3 is my own purpose, what purpose I choose to onboard for my life, which is, in this case, the purpose of sharing the mission, sharing the story, and the resulting objectives and principles contained within my book, Going Alone. To share the good life creed and the message of going alone. Yeah, that's my purpose. So I have 3, biology, virtue, and mission. Biology one's practically done. The virtuous one is ongoing, and the mission is ongoing. So this really boils down to two, although I'll always be a father. I'll always be working on that first one, but the more intense years are done. They're in the rearview mirror now. Next is number 6, is the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces that are falling to pieces. I mentioned before that my body's starting to, not operate up as it used to. It should be expected. It's the nature of things. We're really dealing with things, dealing with the semblance of things, right? Things as they are. Not as we necessarily expect or want them to be. That's a good example, right? I have the precedent and the experience of my body being healthy and fit. If I operate against that expectation, then I become upset and distraught when things start failing to operate the way they used to. But if instead I deal with things as they appear, then I won't be upset, because I'm dealing with them as they actually are. I get it. I think that Stoic principle is really starting to hit home with me. It was tough for me to get for a while. Oh, see, that was on the atomic principle. Molecules, atoms, and energy. That's what it boils down to. Then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature in the universe, including animals and plants and circumstances and organizations and inertia. Everything has some particular nature. The semblance of things, right? And I want to deal with things as they are. Deal with things as they are. Boy, I'm starting to really see the significance of this one principle. I only scratched it at the surface. Now I'm pulling back a little bit and seeing, wow, this may be the center of it all. The principle of nature, that is. Then comes the pirate ride, a funny name for a principle. I use this from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, where I remember as a boy riding through on the boat and looking at the pirates, doing their animatronic things over and over, the same things, shooting the gun, drinking the whiskey, chasing the women, which I don't think they do that anymore. And I remembered that that's us. Although our tracks, our animatronics, appear a lot more willful than that. It looks like we're actually making our decisions. I don't think we are. I don't think free will. I think free will is an illusion. Possibly completely an illusion. We are reaction engines. We make our biology is set up to make decisions that improve the likelihood of survival. They have like pre-configured settings, biases, if you like. And we make those choices every day, and they appear to be our choices. But in fact, we're always making the choices that something inside of us, which is not our consciousness. It's more like, an allegiance to best practices. And I know that this all hints at God, right? That God set up those best practices. God programmed the engine. I don't think that's the case either. It's simply a matter that these practices become instantiated within us by virtue of the fact that their success that caused those biases and those actions and those tastes to be locked into our genetic code by virtue of that they are the things that allowed us to survive, whereas those around us of our species, or formerly of our species, that didn't have those biases died out. So we wind up with this great big template for taste and interest that cause us to seemingly make decisions that lead us towards actions and decisions that promote our survival and the survival of our children. That's what we are. That's what all animals are, and plants as well. And in fact, all life. as far as I can tell. I can't prove any of this. It's just a suspicion that I have, which then renders free will as an illusion. Although a very convincing one, I grant you that. I'm fooled every day to thinking I'm free. It's only in my better, more reflective moments that I remember that it seems that I'm not. Okay, then comes the principle of maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude and integrity. Maturity is the state that we arrive at when we have experience in life. Usually, this is why it takes time to get mature, because you need to grow into adulthood and have some experiences, both good and bad, to begin to tune yourself to the mark. It's when we have those experiences, we can remember them, and then when we have the fortitude to do better. Integrity is the end result. It's a state that we arrive at when our actions are in alignment with our better natures, maybe our better principles, our better decision making, and we'll end up with a better life as a result. Next comes the social principle. We need each other. We need to have connections and people in our lives. The sub-principles are diplomacy, justice, conspiracy. Diplomacy, because we work well together when we act to negotiate our decisions about what ends we will achieve. That's the diplomacy part. Justice is that end. We try to figure out how are we going to create the just city, the better city, the good city together. And of course that's a broad term. It could mean the good home, a good life, whatever the case is, that we do that together with our partner and our community and our co-workers, etc. And then conspiracy is when we link arms to make that happen. And that's what it's like with my wife. My wife and I are in essentially complete alignment with regard to our core values. Complete alignment. And we conspire together to make that happen, to seek after a better world together. It's one of the reasons, even though we have almost nothing in common otherwise, other than our daughter, the forming and the raising of our daughter, we have everything in common with the important stuff, because we hold core common values and a mutual respect for one another, and a willingness and tolerance for two lives being pursued individually and shared as one. Because what I do mean the tolerance part, right? I mean, mostly for her part, she has to tolerate me and my whims of pursuing philosophy and adventure and etc., which has become part and parcel of our life now. It works. So that's the social principle, and we both benefit as a result. We need each other. Then comes the principle of public speaking. It's to learn to be able to communicate well, both written and spoken format. The sub-principles here are best words, having a good vocabulary, knowing how to use it. Eloquence, which comes with practice, speaking, doing a lot of public speaking, learning how to speak well. Prudence, the ability to use our values as a filter for whatever comes out of our mouth or out of our pen or through our fingers at the keyboard. There you go, buddy. You're gonna fall. Be careful, buddy. Silly boy. There you go. I'm a little bit behind. The dogs know it. He's sitting with his back to me. I might need to move a little bit faster. They want to go for their you-know-whating. So that was public speaking. And then finally, there's two negatives on public speaking, which is I don't want to engage in spreading rumors or engaging in gossip. Those are the negative things. So it's, oh, he's going to throw up. The semblance of things. Okay, buddy? Did you throw up? I think he threw up just a little bit. He does that sometimes. Poor little boy. Okay, let me wrap this up so that I can clean up his mess and take care of him, which means feeding him and taking him out for his walk. You know what? I'm going to cut this short today. Let me just quickly go through the remaining ones. Public speaking, distraction, agency and the great indifference, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, the best, after the horror show comes that which must be born, the feast of offal, the best seat in the house, the restless man, path of wildness, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, season and philosophy. I mean, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, the bullseye aim, uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, and the principle of fun. There we go. He seems to be okay. He's stretching now. He didn't even actually throw up. It was just, but he's not feeling good. I need to let him out so he can, if he wants to throw up, he can do it outside, and we'll get him some food. And he does this sometimes. He's got a little sensitive tummy. And I think he got some snacks with dinner last night, something from the table, which isn't always good. So for today, I'm gonna work hard. Today's the last day of work before a 4-day holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, and I'm gonna work hard, and then we're gonna have a nice holiday together with my wife and my daughter. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.